Now we'll learn about the advantages of becoming a whole-brained enterprise. Our expert, Faisal Haq, outlines the advantages of becoming a whole-brained enterprise and discusses how IT can help drive the effort toward creating a converged organization.
So we kind of touched upon it earlier, when we started saying that traditionally, if you look at an organization and you look at the skill set, people either go for business school or they go for technology school. And there are other disciplines, but most organizations have business people and technology people, and it starts with business school education or technology school education. And most of them are not. What I mean whole brain is that they don't have the combination of left brain and right brain, right? So hence lies the problem, because you learn that from school, and then you go in the workforce, and what do we see today's organization? They're run in siloed by those two sides of the brain. So when I call whole brain, I mean that an organization that can go back and forth both between business and technology. And it's a must today, because no business today is without technology, and no technology has any value if there is no business model behind it. Right, so from that point of view, it's a must, right? So the whole brain organization is when business and the technology is not intertwined in the business model, but it's also managed from that perspective. And you have the understanding of how business play a role, and you have an understanding how technology play a role. So that's the definition of a whole brain organization. Now, from an organizational point of view, if you start analyzing it, then you have to say, okay, so that means that, and actually this is something we wrote extensively in our last book called Winning the Three-Legged Race. You can take a picnic game metaphor. When you have a three-legged race, what happens? Two person tied on a leg, in one leg, and then so three legs are running together. So you have to go in a lockstep manner if you want to win the race. That means, again, the idea of the business side and technology side come together. So you have to develop, and if you consider this metaphor in a large organizational point of view, you have to develop certain organizational capability. It's not huge individual capability, but organizational capability. That organizational capability that gives you a holistic 360 view of an enterprise, from governance all the way to technology and asset management. So if the organization who has managed to develop those capability and has managed to mature those capability are the people who can win that three-legged race, right? And that's what we call the whole brain organization. In a way, the technology people are in a great position to drive some of the things, in the sense that technology folks in general are very process-oriented. They are methodical, and it comes from their training, because, when you do software development or when you do network design or analysis, it's a very methodical approach. In order to create a whole brain organization, you also need that methodical management approach, right? It's not in the context of technology management, it's a context of enterprise as a whole point of view. So, but more than 50% of it belongs on the technology side. So they can easily take the leadership in terms of establishing first those best practices within their organization and show it to the rest of the organization. When we talk about disconnect between business and technology, there's actually a massive disconnect within the technology organization, meaning that if you talk to the application people, and then you talk to the network people, and then you talk to the security people, you're going to see different kind of language between all those three people. And they don't work the same way, they don't manage the same way. So first, a CIO can do the best thing for himself or herself is creating a converged organization within his or her group, and maybe take that best practice to the business side if they don't have the business side support to begin with. Now, if you have the luxury of having an organization where the senior management believes and understands that it has to be driven from the top, then you're obviously in a better situation.